Hi, my name is Kelly Doyle. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for ProjectReady, and we're here today to talk about the integrated data environment and how the next evolution of project management and communications and information management benefits infrastructure projects. I'm going to cover a few items today. Infrastructure projects, I'm going to call it complexity squared, and we'll get to that in just a minute. And why do we need another acronym? I'm going to teach a new acronym today called IDE, Integrated Data Environment. Desired industry future state, where are we trying to get to? What really is an IDE? And then we'll talk about IDE in real life, some case studies for different clients. So let me go ahead and bring up my screen. All right, so let's dig into why I'm calling infrastructure projects complexity squared. You'll recognize this diagram from ISO 19650. This is really a great representation of all the different stakeholders at play in a project and the many types of information exchanges that have to happen between these organizations. And what it doesn't explicitly show, but I'd like to describe, are all the different systems in place that have to coexist inside of this framework. So you notice that the larger box, the common data environment, that's what they call it within the context of 19650. That's really encompassing what really can be a number of different systems. It's not always a single system that's in play here. In fact, in most cases, it's not. And that really forms the foundation of what we're going to call an integrated data environment. And the reason we're calling it an integrated data environment, we might ask ourselves, why do we really need another acronym? Because I think what we've seen in the industry is that a number of different platforms have adopted the common data environment as a descriptor of what they do. But really what ends up happening is you have phase-based common data environments that really need to come together within the context of a project. And you could even say the same thing within an organization. You may have a single organization with multiple common data environments because they're using them for different phases of the project, but you still need to bring that together in an integrated way. And we're not the only folks that are talking about it within this context. You'll notice the quote here from McKinsey: the construction technology ecosystem is shifting towards integrated software platforms that better serve customer needs. So while the platforms that are out there, you have BIM 360, you have Procore, you have PlanGrid, you've got Trimble Connect, you've got all these different organizations out there that are bringing different systems together. There is really a need to bring each one of those platforms together within the context of a project. And we find that it's different in each project. So that's why we believe it is better suited as an integrated data environment. So where are we trying to get to? So where are we trying to get to as an industry? Certainly within the context of an infrastructure project, we're really trying to have a more collaborative design, use more industrialized construction, have a productized supply chain, really bring all this together. But what you're seeing a lot in today's market is folks are focusing on the digital twin. How can we get to the place where even within infrastructure, we have a digital twin where we can have content and information and sensors and all this stuff flow through, so there is a digital representation of that asset at the end? Well, in order to do that, you have to have a system of systems. So if you look at this diagram, I'm going to describe the white lines in between the different boxes here are really where IDEs in their role help us accomplish this, right? Because the white lines are governance. You have to have governance between all these different systems. Your machinery manufacturing, your component manufacturing, your distribution and rental, these folks are all going to be on different systems. Your offsite construction, they're using another system. Construction and assembly, they're using another system. So how do you bring them together? How do you govern it? Well, that's where an IDE comes into place. And is this a single collection of applications from one manufacturer, or is it a collection of software applications from a number of different software providers. I find that it's more likely the second, at least more frequently. There's a number of different ways to tackle it, but we feel like folks should have the choice to use their system of choice, their best in breed to get their project accomplished. So when it comes down to it, what really is an IDE, an integrated data environment? An IDE is a system of systems. It's the evolution of project communications designed to consume, manage, and deliver project information across the various stakeholders, actors, phases, and common data environments in any project. It's really what makes our industry so complex. It is not easy. It is not cut and dry. Some folks in manufacturing have tried to do this and have seen it's not as easy as it looks. So we really need to be able to bring the different systems together. Now, additionally, what we need to think about is workflows. Information is information, but people are the things that make us do something with information. So workflows across these connected project data systems and facilitation of security, governance, communications, and collaboration really is the key distinction of an integrated data environment. It's not just bringing systems together, it's bringing people together across these systems. So we believe it starts with a secure framework built on, as an example, Microsoft 365. That's what we use here at ProjectReady. And what you'll notice is that there are then floors representing the platforms that we use for different phases. So we're connecting the people, the platforms, and the companies on any given project. You'll have Microsoft 365 and SharePoint as your foundation. It's helping to create this secure environment. And then you add BIM 360 for design as an example. And then you add Procore or PlanGrid for your build phase as an example. It's really bringing these systems together, right? And we also want to make sure we're using automated administration and workflows across these systems because you have to secure them. And if you don't use automation, that is a time-consuming and expensive process. Automation helps overcome that. And then workflows allows people to get things done across those platforms. Now, another key component of that is the scalable cladding that as I describe it here, around this particular project. You need to have communications. For us, we use Microsoft Teams. Search, we need to be able to find where documents came from, where they went to, where content moves around the system. And email, we need to get that contextual to that project very easily. And then auditing and reporting, because you want to capture all those transactions in a database, so that way you can audit the full life cycle of a particular piece of content. So we want to bring together the leading collaboration platforms and the integrated subsystems. So there's lots of apps and applications that tie into each one of these collaboration platforms that allow us to take care of tactical things. Those are perfect integrations at the platform level, but we also need to then bring those platforms themselves together, okay? Because we need to have a tool that's useful across all phases, from planning to design to build and then operation. Our ultimate goal is to create a platform ecosystem that delivers an integrated approach to project management, control, and execution. Because that's going to drive efficiency throughout the project. And we do that by improving processes and interoperability. The less folks have to get involved in making it work, and the more machines can talk to machines and tie that data together, it will just make everybody more efficient. Now, you'll notice that within a single project, you have an integrated data environment. But what about all the different projects you use? You want to be able to extend that same process to them as well. So as you can see, you now have a collection of integrated data environments which contain information, which contain that auditability and tracking, and now you can see those benefits across all of the different projects into your entire portfolio. So what's the goal with our project-ready integrated data environment? We want to provision, secure, and sync. Once we get that in place, it's kind of like getting the plumbing in place in a particular building. Setting up that framework. Where does the plumbing hang off of? How do you connect those fixtures? That's the analogy I like to use. Because our goal here is to seamlessly connect data platforms and common data environments to provide a single pane of glass to centrally manage projects and document control across all phases. As you can see, stuff moves around between systems and we know where it's going at any given time. And we help facilitate that through the IDE. So what I'd really like to do now is to dig into a couple of real world examples. So in this case, this is a very, very, very large engineering firm. They came to us with some challenges against the systems that you see in play here. They have SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, BIM 360, Autodesk Civil 3D. They're trying to bring this together on a large bridge project here in North America. And the challenges they face is large quantities of internal and external stakeholders who needed secure access to all the systems at play, but by role. You can't just throw them all in there. They needed certain access to certain things based upon their role, right? Now, given compressed timelines, they needed to bring these large volumes of folks on in really compressed times. So it was really important that automation come into play here, but security was paramount because you're dealing with infrastructure projects. You can't just have everybody accessing the wrong things. Previously, they'd have users need to log into different systems. They wanted to overcome that. And then approving and distributing content that was stored in multiple systems on the project really was a challenge. They didn't have a good way to do it other than download, upload, and send emails. And then the auditability became very difficult. So were we able to help them accomplish? You'll notice the quote here from our project sponsor: without ProjectReady's IDE automating the process to securely add the sheer volume of users on this project, it would take double the manpower or twice the time, neither of which I have. Speaks volumes, right? Another thing that we were able to do by connecting these systems together for them is during their design services phase, they were connecting ProjectReady to their own BIM 360. Once they moved into a construction phase, now they were able to integrate and connect that owner's BIM 360 with their ProjectReady within their integrated data environment, which now allowed them to surface issues. The owner was using BIM 360 to surface issues across the entire project. So ones that were assigned to them would show up in ProjectReady and allow them to action them appropriately, regardless of their internal stakeholders that were tied into their integrated data environment. And then because they're moving all this stuff around and everything's being logged into the Azure SQL in the back end, they now have the ability to surface all kinds of information in Power BI and have visibility on things, something that they didn't have before. So the next project I'd like to talk about is an airport project. So this is a contractor, not an engineering firm. And these folks were trying to bring together SharePoint, Teams, Outlook, BIM 360, and a health and safety app called Conformant. So the challenges they had there is they needed to move content between the owner's BIM 360 and their BIM 360. And then they also needed to take all the information that they had in their BIM 360 and output as reports, and then synchronize that with their own SharePoint because they now had to archive it back to the owner. The owner wanted full transparency on the information that was flowing through the system. They didn't have a good way of doing that. Now, approving and distributing content that they had stored in multiple systems, again, this is a common problem on a project like this. And then they also needed to bring information in from an external system like Conformant to then back up to the owner SharePoint. Just lots of interactivity here between the different systems. And then as you can imagine, the sheer volume of email on the project, tough to keep control over. So by using content registration, we were able to help them bring content over from the owner's BIM 360 to the contractor's BIM 360. And in the process of doing that, started an audit trail and then also provided notifications to the project manager that something was there for them to action and trigger BIM 360 review workflows. So it was really, again, it's that human element. Great, you can move something over, but how about letting me know I need to do something? We were able to accomplish both. Then once we got that moving, then we're able to actually get a folder level sync between the contractor's BIM 360 and the contractor's SharePoint, which allowed for real-time archive. No human interaction necessary. It would drop it off there into SharePoint, which allowed them to do a number of other things. So the other thing that we're able to help them do is now between the different contractor systems, primarily SharePoint and the owner SharePoint, we helped use our integration services to be able to also in near real time archive the items at the folder level out of the contractor system into the owner system, and then also bring in things from Conformit. So you can see there's just all these different systems moving around. The integrated data environment, that secure framework, helps to facilitate those the integration efforts between those different systems. Some of them are purpose built into ProjectReady within the context of our integrated data environment, and some of them are really specific to the project and require our integration services to help bring that together. But we're able to help the contractor by doing that. And then finally, dragging and dropping emails made them contextual and searchable. And there was full auditability of the full life cycle of the content as it moved from one system to the other. These things are things they didn't have before. So I appreciate your attention today. And if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. And thanks again.